Hey, good morning from the office. North Georgia's only live online morning show. I'm your host. North Georgia's only live, only one out there. Good morning from the office. BKP here. How is everybody today? Now, we have a whole list of things we're going to try to go over today. We got a lot to cover within a couple hours here. Okay, we've been talking about transgender bathrooms for a week. We've been talking about that for a week. There's a lot, for a long time. I'm sorry, I just have to pause when I say we've been talking about transgender bathrooms. I have a guest coming in here from the Stewards of Children Foundation. I think I got that right, huh? Lonnie, Stewards of Children. And it's Steve Fallon. Steve Fallon will be in here at 8:30. We're going to be talking about the impact of child sexual abuse. That's right. We're going to be talking about prevention, the impact, what it takes to protect our children, the 5 steps: learn the facts, minimize opportunity, talk about it, recognize the signs, react responsibly. So we're going to talk about that with Steve Fallon, Stewards of Children, here at 8:30.
And we've been watching a video, an intro video to this all week. They've been catching it right at the end of the Good Morning from the Office, and you're going to get a chance to see that one more time before he comes in.
Yes, we will do an intro video. Lonnie's right. We will do an intro video to our interview with Mr. Fallon before 8:30 this morning, but he'll be in here at 8:30, so we look forward to that. Now, we have several things we told you on Facebook that we're going to keep up with today, and let me tell you what we're going to do, and we may not get everything done today. So this week into next week, next Tuesday, the races that we are going to focus on, there's a lot of them, but we picked out a couple that we feel the voters need as much information as possible that we're going to try to get to you. But we've picked out the Fannin County Sheriff's race, the Gilmer Probate Judge race, the 51st Georgia State Senate race, the 9th Congressional race, district race, the Georgia U.S. Senate race. We've picked those out. We will probably talk about those more than any other race in the next several days leading up to Tuesday, the election. So those are the ones you'll want to tune in every day that we will be focusing on more about. Trying to bring you more information on these. That being said, Monday is candidate day here on Good Morning from the Office. It's going to be candidate day. And let me tell you what that means is these candidates, these candidates have, they have gone to the barbecues, the forums, they've gone to the forums, the barbecues, the debates, the cookouts, you name it, they've done it, shaking hands, putting up their own signs, going to the Chamber of Commerce, meeting with Rotary, speaking anywhere they can. So Monday here on FetcherNews.com, Good Morning from the Office, we will do a 3-hour special, and in that special, we will give all the candidates in 3 particular races 15 minutes to ask for your vote. I will not be doing the hard, difficult interview questions. We have put no limits on the candidates of what they can say. They can say anything they would like, all right? So we're going to start with 9th Congressional District, Mike Scupine at 8:15 Monday morning. Move into Roger Fitzpatrick, Paul Brown, Doug Collins, and Bernie Fontaine. All the candidates have confirmed their time slot as of yesterday. The Collins campaign manager actually sent an apology for the late response. Obviously, everybody's busy, and they confirmed their time yesterday. So that will be the 5 candidates there for the 9th Congressional District Monday. Then we will move in to 51st District State Senate candidates, and Steve Gooch, Senator Steve Gooch, and then John Williamson. They will both have 15 minutes. They will be calling in. And then 7th District State Representative will round out the morning by Sam Snyder and Speaker David Ralston. We'll wrap up our show Monday. But those candidates will have 15 minutes. If you're trying to make up your mind, if you're undecided and you want a clear, you want to hear the candidates one more time and let them make a pitch for your vote, that will be Monday, our candidate special day. So, that being said, let's move to our next item of the day. We're going to get into this at 9 o'clock with George probably, but I'm your host, and I enjoy getting to come in here and say, you know what? If you have been watching this show, if you have been listening to this show, I said 6 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, I said, you know, all the talk is about a contested convention for the Republicans. All the talk is about the Republicans not being able to unify. What will happen? Violence at Donald Trump's rallies. I said the real story is the Democrats and their convention in Philadelphia. It will be contested. I said that weeks ago, folks. I said the story that the Main Street, I came in here after the last primary that was hotly contested in the Republican primary, and I said to you, I said, the story that nobody is picking up is the Democrats. I said that weeks ago. You know I did out there if you're listening. I said the Democrats. Nobody's picking this story up. This will be the story. Will the Democrats unify? What will happen in Philadelphia? That will be the story. Nevada Democrats warned DNC about Bernie Sanders supporters having they're petulant for violence. Folks, I gotta quit getting home at 10:30. I have to stop getting home at 10:30 at night. Anyhow, if you read the headlines from out in Nevada, and the Democrats are warning the DNC about Bernie Sanders supporters, do a Google search and look at the riot gear and the riot teams prepared for Cleveland and the Republican convention. It may be Philadelphia and the Bernie Sanders supporters. Bernie said he's not stopping. He had 11,000 people. What was that in California last night? Now, Hillary needed to stop the bleeding. No pun intended. You know, if Donald Trump says stop the bleeding, then, you know, there's 19 media sources to discuss what he meant by that. So Hillary tried to stop campaigns trying to stop the bleeding by wanting the media to put out a big Hillary won Kentucky. They want to turn the page. But you know, if you were actually calling the race, it would be like a horse race, and Hillary's in the backstretch. Somebody's going to send me the Hillary cartoon with Hillary's face on a horse coming around the backstretch. I can see it now. But Hillary's on the backstretch, and it's a photo finish in Kentucky. What do they got, 1,000 votes between the two? And Hillary won. Oh my God, she won in Kentucky. That's the big news this morning. Hillary won in Kentucky. But let me tell you something. Kentucky Derby, Hillary by a nose. Don't burn it all down, Sanders. Sanders is not going to stop. Now, there's two things that people don't take consideration into a political party and a convention. There's your nominee. There's your rules committee. There's your platform committee. And there's the direction the DNC wants to go. You see, that nominee, they don't want that nominee to go rogue. They want that nominee to leave the convention, their convention, and stay on the direction that that they chart for them throughout the campaign. Well, not only is Hillary feeling the burn, but Bernie Sanders and his people will have a seat at the table, a large seat at the table at the Democrat convention. I'm just saying. Hillary's at the doctor's this morning. Doctor, I feel the burn. Well, and it's not just because, one of those strip clubs that Bill visited. Telling you, just saying. Hillary, they're stressing out. Now, I'm going to move on to a comment concerning the Fannin Sheriff's race. I've got a guest coming in at 8:30. We do want to talk about the transgender bathroom situation and have this guest explain some things concerning child abuse. But the Washington Post, y'all, don't relax, folks. The Washington Post, Trump's false claim that there's nothing to learn from his tax returns. Now, we have found that these reporters, there's been a whole team of reporters assigned to Donald Trump to find out if he made prank phone calls to find out 30 years ago. Now, let me tell you something. If you go back 30 years on Donald Trump, let's go back 30 years on Hillary Clinton. Let's put a team of reporters to try to find out who did not fuel up that jet that Ron Brown got on, who only put a half a tank of fuel in that plane that Ron Brown got on that crashed. Let's look into that. Not if Donald Trump made prank phone calls. So we're going to help you stay clear here. When you get upset over the media, and you get upset because you turn on the TV, and they're asking whether Donald Trump said something derogatory to a woman, or Donald Trump made a prank phone call, or Donald Trump said something to, somebody that is a doorman at a building, whatever, because that's the stories are going to come out. These are the same people, folks, that said that Marco Rubio got parking tickets and got one speeding ticket. These are the folks. We have Benghazi, Hillary does. Hillary has the Clinton Foundation out there. Hillary has the email scandal. Oh, Hillary's list goes on and on and on. Okay? So don't get caught up in the media, what they do. Do not get caught up in it. I promise you, folks. Now, we have found, I told you yesterday, Blue Ridge Police Chief Johnny Searcy would not take a polygraph in a GBI investigation. Now, I've gotten all the emails, and I've gotten the text messages, and I've gotten the snide little remarks that I went back to 2005 and dug something up. How could I do that? Desperation. Well, folks, I do not and will not do anything to manipulate an election. Won't happen here. But what I will do is bring citizens much needed information for you to make a decision. Okay? Now, I'm not going to tell you how long I had that GBI report. I am going to tell you I read it thoroughly, no exaggeration, probably 10 times. I went through days to make sure it was news, to tell myself. I went through days of just pondering whether it was information the citizens needed before I released that. Now, I'm going to tell you now that the citizens of Fannin County need to know the background on this police chief that wants to be their sheriff. I'm going to highlight two things this morning. Now, we found, if you have read the story that Johnny Searcy, chief of police of Blue Ridge, in a 2005 investigation, failed to take a polygraph test, you're going to want to tune in about 2 minutes. Lonnie, it's going to give me about 2 minutes. We found his the polygraph test. All right, but I'm not ready yet. We want to show the folks, you know, he got up and left. He went over to Cleveland, Georgia. He got ready for the polygraph, and he got up and left, okay, when they started asking. And we found the video of that this morning. We're going to share with you. Let me stay serious on this for a minute. Folks, for all of you out there that have sent me messages about it's a 2005 case, I'm just looking for things to bring up, one thing after the other. You need to read that whole report. If you're somebody out there that sent me one of the nasty messages that support Police Chief Searcy, you need to read that whole entire report, word for word. You need to call Johnny Searcy if you support him today. This is to his supporters. And you need to say, I have read the entire report. Could you please explain it to me? Because although it's in 2005, if Mr. Searcy, it would have gone to a grand jury. If you would have got convicted, you would have been convicted of 2 felonies. You would have lost your job as police chief with the city. You would not be allowed to vote, and you were not allowed to be able to run as our sheriff. So there's a good reason maybe we went back to 2005 to show you that if this gentleman, much like other people in the country today, had to face the charges of this investigation, he couldn't even run as your sheriff. That's number one. So I challenge you to read the whole entire document from the Georgia Bureau of Investigation and then call him and ask him. I want you to ask him, if you're his supporter this morning, will you be transparent? And don't just take the answer, yes, I'll be transparent. Will you be transparent? If you say yes, why will you not release? Why are you standing in the way of open records requests that Fetcher News has sent you? And explain it in detail why you will not release what Fetcher News has asked as the city chief of police. Now, if you won't release those as the chief of police, will you be transparent as sheriff? And will you work with the media to get information to the citizens? Go ask him those questions. Now, there's 2 things I want to bring up, because we are going to stay on this race. We're going to get into the 9th district in a minute, okay, 51st district. I told you we're going to look at all these races this week, and this one we're going to look at on a daily basis. But citizens of Fannin County, I want you to direct your attention to 2014. And here's what I want you to look at, okay? I want you to call law enforcement. I want you to call your uncle that's in law enforcement, not in Illinois. Illinois is exempt from this. Do not call anyone in law enforcement in Illinois or the surrounding area of Chicago. They're exempt. But I'd like for you to call your Uncle Joe, your Uncle Fred, your aunt that worked in the booking room, or maybe as a detective or a special agent. Anywhere in the United States, a friend of yours that's with a bureau somewhere out in, Minnesota, anywhere in the United States. And I would like you to just say, tell me how serious it is. Now stay with the question. Tell me how serious it is if you're the chief of a city police or any investigation unit. How serious is it that you keep your citation books in order, well documented, and always able to have the Department of Justice come in at any time and be able to hand your citations books, have them reconciled and accounted for, and be able to audit them. How serious is that, and how important is that for the chief to have that done? I want you to ask that question. In 2014, Johnny Searcy's chief of police. Here is the audit. Controls over citation books. Citation books issued to the police officers should be documented appropriately when issued and when submitted upon completion. Additionally, citation books should be distributed to officers in a numerical sequence order. Okay, here you go. Upon review of internal controls in the police department over citation books and issued citations, we noted that there are no log or similar record of citation books issued or returned, completed. See, they're not issued or returned completed, these citation books. Just saying. $200 here, $200, just saying. All right? So if he can't be chief of police and keep track of his citation books, you really want him to be the sheriff. Just giving you people information. Now, this is from the audit, okay? We note that there are no log or similar record of citation books issued or returned completed. The citation books were issued by appropriate personnel. They were issued by the right people. However, there was no documentation as to which officer the book was assigned to. Well, hell, you say. In addition, there was no logical sequence in which the books were issued. Custody of the unissued citation books were not maintained in a secure location with limited or restricted access. Well, completeness of records was compromised. This is the auditor. Due to the inability to effectively track in the issuance and the use of books in an orderly fashion. Upon testing the court docket and related citations, we did not find, you got to pay attention to this close, we did not find any exceptions to accuracy and existence of records. Meaning if citation 11111 was in the book and they went to court, they found the fine for $300 for 11111 and it checked out. But when they got to the next book of 21111, it's not there. You see, it's not there. See, the accuracy of what was turned in is there. But, stay with me on this. We did not find any exception to accuracy and existence of records. However, it was not possible to ascertain the existence of books issued that were not included in the docket. So books 11111 could be in there, but it could have went then to 31111 and then 41111, and nobody knows if 21111 is in a desk drawer or Barney Fife has it. Okay? Now, that being said, here's the cause. Cause was lack of controls over issuance of books caused a risk of incomplete records and increase of potential misstatement of revenue. No, Johnny would never do that. Misstatement of revenue related to the police department. Now, folks, you need to call him if you're a supporter of his. And you need to say, you know what? I need to know what you did to correct this. I need to know, if elected sheriff, who will be your chief deputy? Who will be chief? Because I want to know who's going to help you with some of these controls. Recommendation, it is our recommendation that a log must be maintained, whereas the appointed custodial officer notes the citation books numbers contained in the book to be issued. Now I'm running up on a break. I told you I have a guest, but that is in the audit. That's not my words. for all of his supporters that keep sending me the emails and you're mad and you're saying I'm dredging stuff up. No, I am not. This individual wants to be your sheriff. Now, one more thing. I told you we did find Johnny Searcy's polygraph test that he refused to take. Remember, I told you he went over to Cleveland. He refused to take a polygraph test. Let's not forget that Gerard and Davis, yes, Gerard and Davis, the city of Blue Ridge, mayor and city council, investigation phase 1 finding. So the city is under investigation. The council's under investigation. The departments in Blue Ridge are under investigation. Gerard and Davis is expected to have phase 2 of this finding released the last week of this month, which I'm not going to say they're doing it on purpose, but maybe they don't want this out before an election. It might be ugly. But phase 2 is coming out. Now, here's what came out in phase 1. They interviewed Police Chief Johnny Searcy. We don't have time to go into detail on that. But here's one of the things they said. They felt, now the city council had to vote to go to the next level. And these are in the recommendations from Gerard and Davis. Gerard and Davis made a whole list of recommendations to the city council. It said, this is phase 1. If you go to phase 2, we recommend you go further in depth into these areas, okay? It is highly recommended that all current city council members, blah, 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 master list. Let me get down here. Where was it? Okay. Further investigation into financial accountability of the city departments regarding reported irregular liquidation of city assets and accounting of cash transactions should be undertaken. Folks, we understand they will not tell us, but sources say, we say now, we think that city department is the police department of Blue Ridge. We think right now. Speculate, that's a big word, but I got to tell you, I think pretty sure. We're pretty sure in that second round, sources tell us of investigations that Mr. Johnny Searcy was interviewed for quite a length of time in the second investigation of that, okay? Since further investigation into financial accountability of the city department required reporting irregular liquidation of city assets and accounting of cash transactions. Now, when this report came out, FetcherNews.com said, you know what? We would like to see all the confiscated things that the city police have taken in. Drugs, cars, they impound cars, they confiscate cars and drugs. We'd like to see everything they took in, how they liquidated it, and what they did with the money, because this, number one, just led us to believe maybe we want to look at it. Guess what? We did an open records request. Guess what? Chief of police is standing in the way of revealing that information. Call him. So for everybody out there that is sending me the emails and saying, really, 5 days before an election, this is what you're going to do? No. I'm giving you stuff I'm reading, folks, in black and white. Black and white. GBI investigation reports, audit reports, attorney reports, internal investigation reports. This is stuff you can read for yourself. You don't need me to tell you. But folks, you need to know it before you make a decision on who's going to be your next sheriff in Fayette County. Now, Lonnie, I want to play John, and I want to hear it, so I want to turn it up. I want to play Johnny Searcy's. I want to play his polygraph test that we found, and then I want you to come back to me before we go to our guest. Okay? Go play the polygraph test. Let me hear it. Turn it up.
What's your name?
Jerry Seinfeld.
What is your address? 129 West 81st Street.
Did Kimberly steal Joe's baby?
I don't know.
Did Billy sleep with Allison's best friend?
I don't know.
Did Jane's fiancée kidnap Sydney and take her to Las Vegas? And if so, did she enjoy it?
I don't know.
Did Jane sleep with Michael again?
Yes! Yes, that stupid idiot! He left her for Kimberly! He slept with her sister! He tricked her into giving him half her business, and then she goes ahead and sleeps with him again! I mean, she's crazy! How could she do something like that? I mean, that Jane, oh, she just makes me so mad!
Okay, okay, folks. Hey, we found it in the archives. I don't know why Johnny got so upset, but he did. Folks, I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office, North Georgia's only live online morning show. We have been talking about, and I always pause because I can't get my brain around this. We've been talking about transgender bathrooms. We know this past week we've seen a couple thousand people, maybe more, in Fannin County at a Board of Education meeting. We have seen this become a national issue. You are concerned. I heard moms and dads go to the podium and concerned about their boys and girls going in the bathroom, little boys and girls going in the bathroom with children with identity issues. I don't know how to, I don't even know how you say things anymore in this mixed up world. But anyhow, my next guest, okay, we're going to be able to probably bring this right around for some understanding about child abuse and some things going on, how to identify it, and that's Steve Fallon. So I'm happy to have this segment at this appropriate time and some of the things we're discussing. So stay with us right after the break. We're going to have our guest, Steve Fallon, with us. I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office. Lonnie, take us to break.